I want to draw your attention to something that has happened over the last few hours. And because government bloggers are keeping us very busy discussing political alignments, political groupings, 2027, and what is wrong with Rigathi Gachagua, he's a tribalist, etc., etc. And even very shockingly, our Munyoro presidency, na kuambia hii Kenya yetu, because we are so busy discussing all those non-issues at the moment, I'm sure many of us have missed this very major development. And it is the following. Very suddenly, the government has withdrawn the charges of ugaidi, terrorism, against activist Boniface Mwangi, and quickly replaced them with other much lesser charges. Now, why is that a major development? What is the big deal? Kwani iko nini? I will tell you. When a government backtracks, when a government engages a reverse gear, even historically, it is a very, very big deal. In 1991, very suddenly out of the blue, the second president of Kenya, Daniel Toroitich arap Moi, called for an emergency KANU delegates conference, where Section 2A of our Constitution was very suddenly repealed, returning the country to a multi-party democracy. Now, in retrospect, we can see very clearly Moi was under intense pressure at the time, from foreign powers. But we can see very clearly that this clever move by Moi, yes, it was under pressure, but it was a very smart move, because Moi bought himself 10 more years in power. He gave himself more time to put his affairs in order and get a good exit strategy, so that he would be able to enjoy life, still living in Kenya, even after he left the presidency. I know many Kenyans have never appreciated just how massive and involving that operation was. But trust me, it was huge. You know, if Moi had done nothing, the mounting pressure at that time would have meant that he would have been out of power within a year or so. 2 years maximum. He would have been gone. Now we know that the Ruto regime does not have the giraffe vision of the Moi era. They don't. And therefore, when they engage the reverse gear so suddenly, the very rusty reverse gear that they never use, when they engage that gear very, very suddenly like they have, you need to know it is serious. There is something very serious going down. Okay? And there should be no doubt about that. And the truth is, we have seen many signs of pressure on this government from all over the place. But on my show today, I want us to pinpoint and find out exactly where this pressure is coming from. And then after that, we need to conclude what is going to result next, what is going to happen next, in the next few days, in the next few weeks, in the next few months. Okay? Let's get down to it. And let's look at the suspects, one by one. Could this pressure be coming from the Gen Zs? Now it is true, the pressure the Gen Zs have had on this regime, very unexpected, but it has completely taken this government by surprise, including the intelligence community. They've been caught flat-footed. And this pressure is not over. Indeed, there is evidence that it is mounting. Therefore, it is true there is a lot of pressure from the Gen Zs. But is it the Gen Z pressure that has caused the government, in this instance, to backtrack? No, I don't think so. As much as that pressure is, I don't think so. Suspect number 2, former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. Now, I have noticed that there are some Kenyans, when you mention that name, they see red. And I'm not sure why. Actually, I can't figure that one out. Because when somebody comes to help you to put out a fire in your house is burning, imagine that, with your valuables inside, and your neighbor, the one you hate most, comes with a bucket of water to help you, the one who was trying to curtail your wife, the one who was smiling and winking at her, do you tell him, go back with your bucket, I don't need your help? And the house is burning. Do you do that? Of course not. You accept that bucket of water from somebody you don't like, and you put out your fire. Mtasort mambo yenyu baadaye. But government bloggers have been so effective and so smart that we are focusing on Gachagua. What we're being told, not in as many words, is that if we cheer on Wamunyoro as it dismantles the Ruto regime, then what we're actually doing is propping up Rigathi Gachagua to be the next president. That is what we've been convinced. Anyway, is Rigathi Gachagua pressure the reason why the government so suddenly changed the charges that had been preferred against Boniface Mwangi? No, I don't think so. In any case, Bwana Gachagua is out of the country at the moment. He's touring the United States of America. And while we're still here, please allow me a quick aside. I have seen a clip showing the kind of security that Rigathi Gachagua is enjoying in the US. Almost presidential security. And people insinuating that this could mean something concerning his political leanings, concerning help he's getting from some certain quarters, etc., etc. Well, allow me to remind you of something, and maybe for some of us, to give you a little information. It is well documented that many government critics and opponents, right down history, have been malizwad, finished, assassinated, while they are in a foreign land. And sometimes this is made to look like it was something else. Sometimes even something accidental. Okay? Let me just leave it there. Food for thought. Huh? So, since Wamunyoro is not the suspect, is not the main reason why this major thing has happened, which signals a lot, which is pregnant with meaning, who else is a suspect? Well, there is too much evidence against suspect number 3. Too much. And some of it is puzzling. The evidence is puzzling. Doesn't make sense why they would do that. But it makes sense that somebody is very determined to put pressure on the Ruto government. But what doesn't make sense is the cost. At what cost? Which tells me that those people are very determined to do what they want to do. Okay? And I'm going to introduce that suspect very shortly, after reminding you of some other privileged information that you may still not have. Take a listen. You're watching this video and you're a regular visitor to this channel because many times you get information here that you cannot get anywhere else. And that one is apart from the analysis and the history that most of you really enjoy. Now I've realized there is a lot of valuable, mind-blowing information on this channel, and indeed all over the place within the Kumekucha brand, that many of us, and especially those who started following after 2017, that many of us have missed. Like the most high-tech, craziest assassination that has ever taken place within the borders of Kenya. I am of course talking about the case of a brilliant lawyer called Mutula Kilonzo Senior. Huyo mtu alimalizwa kwa njia nyingine hawezi kuamini. Hey. Now this information is contained in an ebook. Yes, that one that you can see on your screens right now. And make no mistake about it, this thing is complete. It gives you the motive, how it was done, what was used, something that is very common even in cough syrups. Oh yes, kila kitu iko hapa. And now, for only the price of Kenya shillings 499 only, you can get all this mind-boggling information pop into your email inbox. You can see details of what you need to do repeated in the description area below this video on YouTube. Yeah. Use the normal M-Pesa telephone number and you will have not only this information, because I've also thrown in something else. You will also have a special report of your choice. Just choose what you want. And if you're not able to, just tell me, Chris, nichagulie ile iko moto kuliko pasi 10 ya makaa. And I will send you one of the special reports that has shocked my audience the most. You know, somebody told me the other day, siku hizi wa Kenya wadanganyiki. They are very difficult to fool. Why? Because they have information. And so, I highly recommend, don't hesitate. Get this information now. Over the last few hours, I have been very puzzled. Why? Because I have been wondering, why should somebody go to the length of reporting themselves? Why? You did something? Of course, you're so powerful, nobody can do anything against you. But you go and you report yourself. Hey! This is to do with suspect number 3. You see, over the last few hours, we have started receiving information about wale wazungu wa homa ya mchina. Yeah, very powerful people. How they rigged the 2022 presidential elections. How they made Ruto president. These are very big supporters of the Ruto regime. And I don't think that is breaking news. I don't think that is a secret. So these big supporters have started leaking out details and information on how they did it. Okay? Let me back up a little so that we all understand. Many people think that when a journalist comes up with a scoop, a very big story, a very big expose, inside information, and there is no whistleblower in sight, many people think that it is because of the hard work of that journalist. Nothing like that. Let me give you a quick example. The biggest scandal in American political history, Watergate, in the 70s, made 2 journalists from the Washington Post newspaper very famous all over the world. But how did they come across this story? Do you know? They got a tip from an anonymous source who was obviously on the inside. Yeah? And this person called them and gave them information and pointed them here, pointed them there. And their story ended up with the resignation of the President of America, Richard Nixon. Let me cut to the chase. The way these journalists get this very, very big story and very, very big information is that 2 elephants are fighting. And one elephant realizes that if I leak this information about my opponent, I will finish them. And then that big elephant goes ahead and leaks that information, usually anonymously, and they finish the opponent. That's how it works. And that is why when somebody gets a big scoop, a very big story, inside information, the first question I usually ask myself is, where is the possible leak of this story? Where did this story come from? Because right there is another bigger story. Okay? And so, information is emerging about a possible link between the current Chief Justice in Kenya and wale watu wa homa ya mchina. And not only that, other inside details are starting to come out. Now, my question is, why now? Okay? And it is also very obvious where these leaks are coming from. They're coming from the source, from the people who did it. Why should they report themselves? Of course, it means that they're very determined to do something in Kenya. Why? Why is it so important to them? Those are the questions I'm asking myself. And maybe you'll help me to get some answers. Because so far, sijapata. Now, this leads us to the next important question. What are the consequences going forward? Well, these people are determined. And so it means that what they want is a regime change in Kenya as quickly as possible. And this is the kind of pressure that would make a government that usually does not engage the reverse gear to very quickly engage that reverse gear, so that they organize themselves for their defense against this enemy, who just the other day was their friend, against this foe, who is the most responsible for bringing them to power. Hey, I don't know if you see how major this development is. I'm not sure if you do, but I'm hoping and praying that you do. This is very major, and it means that the next few days and weeks we should brace ourselves for very big news. Very big news here, very big news there. Not one big news, several very big news items all over the place. That is what we need to brace ourselves for. Hey, things are moving in Kenya way too fast. Now, very quickly before I go, I just want to remind you we're in the season for gifting yours truly, Chris Kumekucha, an initiative that was started by friends of Kumekucha. You can see details on your screens right now. I will appreciate, asanteni sana. This goes a long way in helping me do what I do. I am here doing what I do, which many of you appreciate, because of the strong support I have received from the friends of Kumekucha. Those are just ordinary Kenyans, subscribers to this channel, who have gone out of their way to ensure that they support me. And believe you me, it has come in very handy, very many times. And therefore I want to thank you in advance as you choose to participate, to support the work I do here. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.